Hello friends, welcome to the third lecture of corporate valuation. And last time we have seen about the corporate valuation and the DCF technology method, how we have done how the DCF valuation method is effective in corporate valuation. So today we'll see the practical aspect of how we calculate really the DCF technology using the valuation of the company. Before we start, let us have the corporate valuation. Just we have a recap of 5 minutes about the discounted cash flow method. We have seen we have to use the future cash flow. Then we will have a discounting factor into it. And there are two methods, FCFF and FCFE. So in FCFF, the components of the discounting cash flow is the free cash flow, then the free cash flow estimation, then growth of free cash flow, then perpetuity. Then we will use the CAPM model, and we will have the weighted average cost of capital. And the steps of the interest exclusion method we will use for the discounted cash flow method is, first of all, we'll find out the EBIT, then we will reduce taxes, then after that we'll get a NOPAT, we'll add back the depreciation, amortization, we'll get the gross cash flow, we will reduce the investment in fixed assets and the working capital. So we'll get the FCFF. This FCFF will have the for the whole period of the general projection, and then we'll have a terminal value. If we add this, then we'll get the enterprise value. Similarly, we have the FCFE. FCFE can be calculated in two ways. We can start with the PAT, then we'll have a depreciation to add back, then amortization to add back. We'll get the gross cash flow. Out of this, we'll reduce fixed assets and increase in the fixed assets in the working capital and the payment of loan. So if you do this, we will get the FCFE. There's another method which we use for FCFA is just we reduce the amount of loan from the FCFF, so we'll get the FCFA. Here we will also see how the weighted average cost of capital we will see. Then we will have to check out what is the risk-free return, then what is the risk premium. So we'll get the risk premium minus RF is equal to, if we apply the cost of equity formula, then we get the cost of equity. Then we will get the WACC. Similarly, we have seen last time about the cost of debt. Cost of debt is always post-tax. So we'll take the cost of debt 1 minus T, the tax that will be given in the question. So we'll have, say, for example, if a company borrows 12%, then it lies in 30% tax rate. Then our cost of debt will be 12% minus into 1 minus 30%, so 8.4%. Cost of equity we have already discussed. So there is the concept of beta. The beta will be given in the question, but as I said, practically the beta is calculated as per the industry risk and the company risk. The lastly, we will be having the terminal value. In terminal value, we'll have a growth rate, and we will take the PV of terminal value. Will be like we'll first find out the terminal value, which will be calculated as the last year's FCFF. So suppose there is a projection of 5 years, then we will have the last year FCFF, 5th year. Then we will multiply n plus 1, divide by WACC, which we must have calculated, minus growth rate, which will be infinity. This will give you a terminal value. This terminal value we will discount, so that we'll get the terminal value, discounted value of the terminal value. And we add to the all free cash. So we'll see how we can, we will have the particular thing into, say for example, when we really calculate the terminal value. So if, let us have the terminal value also here. FCFF n plus 1 divided by WACC minus G. If your FCFF for the last year is 1000, so we'll have 1000 divided by 18%, which is my WACC, and 3%, which is my G. My terminal value is 6877. So let us take one problem of terminal value, and that is a DCF valuation method. So here, if you look at, just expand the value, this one screen. So you have the base year thing is given here. So we have revenue is 3,000 million for a Magnavision Corporation. EBIT is given, capital expense is given, depreciation is given, net working capital as a percentage of revenue is given. Corporate tax for all the years is 30%, and we have been given paid up capital. So is 400 million. Then market value of debt is 1,200 million. So debt is also given. So input for the high growth phase. So there are two growth phases they have given, high growth as well as the stable growth. Length of the high growth is 4 years. So we will be doing the projection for 4 years. Then growth rate in revenue is 20%. So every year we will be having 20% growth rate. Then we have EBIT, how the EBIT will change in these 4 years. Net working capital as a percentage of revenue is 25%. So EBIT will be 25%. Cost of debt will be pre-tax is given. So we'll do the post-tax 13%. Debt equity ratio is 1:1. This will be used in the valuation of WACC and the cost of debt and equity. Risk-free rate is 11%. Market risk premium is given. So if the premium is given, then this is not useful. Equity beta is 1.129. The beta is given more than 1. Input for the stable growth is given. So expected growth rate is in revenue and EBIT is 10%. Capital expenditure are offset by the depreciation. So whatever there is an increase in the depreciation will be offset by the capital expenses or vice versa. Net working capital as a percentage of revenue is 25%. Cost of debt pre-tax is 12.14%. Risk-free rate is 10%. Risk premium 6%. So risk-free return is not useful here. We will use risk premium. Equity beta is 1 and debt equity ratio is 2:3. So what is the WACC for the high growth phase and the stable growth phase? This is question 1. And the question 2 is the valuation of the firm. So what is given here is certain projections for both the thing, growth rate, growth phase, and the stable growth phase. So what are the prerequisites over here? What we need to solve the problem? So first is what we need is cost of equity. Second is cost of debt. Third is RM, which is given, and the cost. Then we will find out the WACC. PV factor to find out, that is WACC. Then we need G. G is a stable growth rate. This is, I think it is 10%. Then after that, we will have the FCFF. We will calculate FCFF. And then we will, lastly, we will have what? Terminal value. Terminal year and terminal value. So this all will help us to get the value of the terminal value. So we will have a chart of having 4 years. Then we will have terminal year. Then we will use PV factor. And then we will have a valuation. This is what we will use these steps for our valuation. Right? So we'll go to the question proper now. So we'll have the Excel sheet we will use for this, and we will take out the problem. So here we will use the CAPM approach. The cost of equity during the high growth phase will be risk-free return, which is given in the question, is 11%. And the equity beta, because in equity we will always use the RFR. So we will have a beta, and we will use the RF minus RM. So that is risk premium that is given in the question is 7%. So 11% plus 1.129 beta into the risk premium is equal to 18.9%. This is what the cost of equity in the high growth phase. Now, cost of debt in the high growth phases, the cost of debt given in the question is 13% pre-tax. So we'll use 1 minus 0.30, 9.1. We have been told that we are having the debt equity ratio is 1:1. So 1:1 means 0.5 is debt and 0.5 is equity. So 0.5 into 18.9 plus 0.5 into 9.1 we will get the WACC. So WACC for the high growth phase is 14%. This is to be taken into consideration. Then the cost of equity during the stable growth phase. So RFR is given 10% plus equity beta is given 1%. Then we have 6% of risk premium. So we'll get 16% of the cost of equity. Similarly, if you go to the cost of debt, then we have what to 12.14, which was given in the question. Then 30% tax rate for all the years. So we get 8.5%. So, and we have been told that there is a debt equity ratio is 2:3. So equity and debt, if you divide, it comes to 0.60 into equity and 0.40 into the debt. If you do 2 divided by 5, so it is 0.40. Debt equity 2:3. Debt is 2 and equity is 3. So 2 by 3 is 0.4 and 2 by 5 is 0.4 and 3 by 5 is 0.6. So now we have to prepare the cash flow. So this cash flow we need to prepare. So how do we do this? We have been told 0 year is 3,000 is revenue. EBIT is given. So this 2 is given in the question. And then there is a growth rate was given 20%. So we will take this. So revenue, then EBIT, then 1 minus EBIT 30%. Tax will take. Investment in capex is already given that there will be a 1.2 time will be there will be a investment in depreciation, investment in capex, and working capital will increase by incremental working capital is 25%. We will take only the incremental working capital. So this is basically a base year. So we will not have anything over here. So this base year we will not have to look into it. So this is what we have. Now we go to the year 1. We will have 1.2%. Then here year 2 1.2%. Year 3 1.2%. Year 4 is 1.2%. In terminal year is 1.1% because they have specifically given saying that terminal year will be 10%. We'll apply the same percentage over here also everywhere, and here it will be a 10%. EBIT will be the same, 1 minus T, so will be 0.7. Investment will go on 1.2 times every year, so it will be 100, then 1.2, then 1.44, then 1.72, then 2.07. Working capital is growing incrementally at 25%. So accordingly, we have taken the original working capital, and then there is the increase. So we get the difference of the year-on-year basis. So we have taken here we have taken D32. If you see, D32 is revenue into 0.25 minus D32 into 0.25. So incremental we have taken here. So we get the FCFA for the first year is 150, then 180, then 216, and 259. In the terminal year, we got the there is no increase in the capex, but there is an increase in the working capital. So we have taken the working capital into picture, and there is a FCFF we have taken. So again, we have taken the same formula, the EBIT minus the less investment less this. So we have taken this. This is how we take the FCFF, and the growth rate. If you look at our WACC is 14%. So all the year we will take the WACC 14%, 14%, 14%, 14%. stable growth will come after the terminal year. So 13% will be applied, or the another percentage will apply in the other than the terminal year. So discounting factor, we have 14%, so 100 divided by 114 first year, raised to 2 second year, raised to 3 third year, raised to 4 fourth year, and raised to 4 fourth year, because terminal years is not a separate year, but it's a terminal period. So we'll take the fourth year. So just remember, we'll take fourth year discounting factor in the terminal year. It means last year discounting factor in the terminal year. You just multiply it, we'll get the all the 4 years present value, and we have a total of this 4, so it comes to 569 for the present value of the explicit period. This is called as the explicit period. So that will be taken as the discounting PV value of the 4 years. Now we'll be having the PV of terminal period. Now PV of terminal period is very critical. The formula is FCFF of that particular year, that is 642, this one. Then divide by WACC. So WACC is 0.13 of that particular year. G is given is 10%, so we have taken 10. So G is 10, and multiplied by the PV factor. So PV factor will be the same, H40. So the PV factor will be the 0.5921. What we have taken, 642 H37 divided by 0.13, WACC for the stable growth period, minus G is 10%, multiplied by the last PV factor. So that will give you the terminal value of the PV of the terminal value. So PV of terminal period is 12,686 million. So you have to add this to this one, the explicit period and the terminal value period. So you will get the valuation of the firm. This is how we calculate the valuation of firm, friends. So this is the practical lecture we have taken on the valuation of the firm. We will take up next time. We will take up the about maybe a 3-stage we will take, or we will take the FCFE. FCFE is nothing but we just reduce the amount of loan and the cost of preference shares from this. So we'll get the cost of equity shareholders. I'll just give you the formula over here. Enterprise value, then if you have a equity value, if you want to derive, then we will have the equity value and is equal to enterprise value minus debt. So that will give you the equity value. And today what we have calculated is what I'll just share the screen with you. Today what we have done recently just now is enterprise value. So what we have done is enterprise value. So enterprise value is PV of the FCFF during the forecasting period, that is we have called as the explicit period. We have added, if you remember, we added PV value of terminal value. So this is, we said that this is the value of the firm. Now if you want the enterprise value, then you add back there is no differentiation between the valuation of firm and the enterprise. But if you have the cash balance with you in the balance sheet and the investment in the balance sheet, you add back that. So you get the enterprise value. So whenever they ask the enterprise value, it is nothing but the firm value. And from this enterprise value, you reduce the debt. So this will give you the valuation of the equity shareholder perspective. Right, friends? So this is what we have done today, DCF valuation method, practical approach. And as I say, keep learning, friends, grow yourself. Sky is the beginning. There is no limit. For a finance, people who are working in finance, this method or the valuation is the prime. So let us close here, and thank you very much for your patience, learning, hearing everything. So we will have the next lecture. We will have about the relative valuation method. So thank you, friends, and happy learning. Thank you.